Hello, this is Dave. I'm with Channelside Water Sports, and we have brought boat rentals and wave runners to this area of town. And my question to you is, what is your vision for the future of the Riverwalk and connecting this area to the downtown district as well?
Well, the most important thing is for the heights to get going, because once it gets going, the development agreements has the Riverwalk being established. I know Darren is here tonight, I think, the manager of the project. If people who don't know about the heights, I mean, this is extraordinary. The armature is an amazing building. Right behind me is going to be, Darren, how many docks? We have one dock already. How many are coming, sir? 100 ultimately. So one day recently, someone asked, or in one of these forums, said, where do I take people, visitors, when they come to Tampa? And I don't have a boat anymore. But when I had a boat, the thing I would always take people to do is take them up the Hillsborough River, because it's an extraordinary place. You go up it, 3 miles up here, you feel like you're like in out of Africa, or you're in the middle of this tropical paradise. It's an extraordinary resource. It is a phenomenal asset. One of the things that people may not have followed, but a couple of years ago, Tampa Bay Water and the city of Tampa was required to up the minimum flows over the dam by up to minimum flow of 5 million gallons a day, 6 million gallons a day. That has made an incredible improvement in water quality. There's now manatees, there's tarpon, things up in the upper river that aren't there before. This is such a huge recreational asset. Completing the Riverwalk, I think, when at least this piece gets done, is going to connect the Heights to the Performing Arts Center to the south end of downtown. Now, there's challenges coming up getting around those bridges. Honestly, I don't know that I would prioritize, particularly if high-speed rail happens, I don't know that I'd prioritize those because they're so expensive and so difficult. Hoping that the governor does the right thing, we need to focus on making this landside connection between the high-speed rail terminal in Ybor City, in Channelside, the Riverwalk, the Arts District, so that tourists and residents can move around these areas in an effective way. But it's, mayors forever have tried to get this done, and we need to try to get pushing this. And as mayor, I'll be a tenacious advocate for seeing this project in the Heights move forward, because this combines everything. You've got Davis Island and Hyde Park all together, and the city's just over here. It's an extraordinary location.
Ed, Phil Compton, Friends of the River and Sierra Club. And to follow up on what Dave said, 11 years ago, citizens had to organize into a organization called Friends of the River to say that this river should get some of its own water because it had been amputated and didn't get a drop of fresh water most of the year for 35 years. Mayor Greco said, this river can't have any of its own water. We had to find another solution. Bob Buckhorn said, this is a dirty ditch, it's dead, it doesn't get any of its own water, it's a lost cause. This river now does get a little fresh water every day, and living 9 miles upriver, I can tell you, the life has come back to this river, but it's still got problems. What do you think you would do to improve the health of this river, which really is the heart of our city?
Well, one of the things, we need to figure out a way to keep it cleaner. We need to deal with some stormwater enhancements, because I know 2-3 summers ago, instead of traveling someplace else to have my vacation, I rented a home on the river and spent the 3 months of the summer on the river. And I know whenever it rains, it just fills with junk and crud. I particularly know that because I had a jet boat. It constantly got things clogged up. So dealing with stormwater runoff is an important component of it. Maybe there's some innovative approaches to dealing with Hooker's Point effluent that has it, instead of dumping in the bay, go into the river. And that could be part of this overall reuse project and process. Think about if you, instead of having 5 million gallons a day, had some portion of 55 million gallons a day going in. Now, there's a lot of technical issues like that. You really got to be careful about dealing with the estuarine environment. By long ago training, I had my master's degree in ecology, and I studied freshwater aquatic systems. So I'm very attuned to tampering with that balance. But it should be a priority. And so I would say that the short answer is trying to deal more with stormwater, runoff, and all the stuff that comes in. There needs to be some capacity to clean up, and I think that's going to have to be more volunteer-based, but maybe it can get tied into some kind of community restitution programs with people who are obliged to do community service as part of a misdemeanor, goes up and cleans up the river. And the last piece is looking to see whether we can get an infusion of additional water into the river from the Hooker's Point effluent.
No question. I just wanted to let you know that the bicycle ride has changed a little. It looks like we're going to be doing it Friday night instead, so we can all have fun on Friday night with a group ride down to the Tampa Convention Center, and watch the Facebook page and your email for more details.
Okay, in case, just to go back over that, we're going to have a bicycle rally for a vision that works on Friday night. We don't know where it's going to or from, but we're going to be there. I'm going to be riding a bike with a bunch of other folks, and just like I used to do back in my county commission days, we're going to go take back the streets. You got bicycle radicals over here.
Yeah. And another question for you about jobs that came in from the internet. Aside from pursuing companies to relocate here, what specific steps will you be taking to create a significant number of new, higher-paying jobs in Tampa?
You know, I think it's working. There's a couple of initiatives to be pursued. Number one, USF is working on a thing I think they call the Innovation Hub. It's an idea that's trying to be born, I believe. But part of it comes with recreating the environment around USF. And anyone who has been up to USF knows it's pretty shameful. You drive on Fowler and Fletcher, and USF is our major intellectual asset. And yet it's surrounded by suburban sprawl in a degraded suburban environment. I think the city and the county, the VA, Moffett, USF, needs to work on reshaping that urban environment in collaboration with spin-offs that are coming out of the research efforts there, and using those spin-off efforts to populate the USF area with quality urban structures and reshape that environment. Place is very important. The new technologies, the new entrepreneurs, the IT folks, they can go any place in the world. They're not restricted by ties to a port or ties to a highway system. They're attracted to place. So this integration of place and creativity is really important. The other thing is I propose is a thing called the TB net. It's designating a corridor between Ybor City and West Shore that would be a living laboratory for new transportation technologies, new building technologies, and new distributed energy technologies like solar, potentially wind, green rooftops, new building technologies that are incredibly energy efficient, new transportation technologies like electric cars, maybe compressed natural gas. The goal would be that corridor becomes a laboratory for implementation of these cutting-edge technologies, and it would be no place else like that in the United States. If we're able to turn the governor around on high-speed rail, which we work on every day these days, you connect this innovation, this new innovation corridor to the high-speed rail corridor, and becomes a lifestyle transportation and technology implementation corridor that's unequaled in America. That fosters entrepreneurship, but it's also a tractor. It brings new people here.
Ed, this is Deanne Roberts. I want to talk about young professionals. I'm not one of them, but I have two kids. One that'll never come back to Tampa. He's in Dallas. He's got an IT job, makes a lot of money. Another one, maybe he'll come back. What do we need to do to either bring back our smart, talented, well-educated kids, or to attract some new ones?
I think everyone's chasing that issue, and I feel it. My daughter's 17 years old. She's about to go to Florida State. I don't know what she's going to major in, but I sure the heck would like to have her come back here. It goes back to the questions I think we've been talking about. We don't want to ignore the jobs that working people need to do. Call center jobs are jobs a lot of people can do. And when real estate gets back going, we'll fill up some of those. We also, though, need to take it to the next step. We need to foster both the technology, biomed, defense spin-offs that create the high-paying jobs that our kids seek and are qualified for. There's no silver bullet there. It says, let's make it a priority, and let's focus on the relationships we have with the University of South Florida, the University of Tampa, MacDill Air Force Base, working with the Economic Development Council to target those initiatives, to target those industries that we can bring here, and when they come here, those jobs follow them. That's one level of it. I'll go back, though, to this organic growth. You know, the job share concept, if I got that right. Work share. No. Sorry, co-working. Where you facilitate a diverse discipline of young people or old people working together in a synergistic way to create new product. I think you got to try it at every single dimension and see what hits. That's how Microsoft got going. That's how a lot of innovative companies got going. It's not on one track. It's pursuing multiple tracks at multiple levels, understanding that some things aren't going to work and others will. I'm going to bring that back to my leadership and my skills. I have never been worried about trying something with the notion that someone would then throw it back to you to say, oh, you tried that and that didn't work. We need visionaries who are going to try multiple strategies, knowing full well some are not going to work, and be able to take the bullets for them and say, it's okay. It's okay. And I think that's one of the distinguishing points between myself and everyone else in this field. I've never shied away from a challenge just to say, let's reach for a higher height. In this whole area of attracting talent and new industries, whether it's homegrown or come from out, I think we need to try an abundance of things, be willing to not succeed on some fronts so we can succeed on a lot of other fronts. I guess that was a good answer.